All right, guys, it looks like this game's getting really close to getting started. This is Draco versus Midas, Poland versus Korea, and this is perhaps one of the most significant games in the group stage of the StarCraft tournament here. We have Draco, although he's from Poland originally, and that is the country that he's representing, he is a professional gamer in Korea at the moment. That is something that is quite a feat because not many people have ever been able to make it that far in esports, and he has accomplished this already. Midas, a very famous Korean on the team SK Telecom 1, as we can see by his tag. This team includes many players such as Slayer's Boxer and I Love OOV and Kingdom. I mean, it's a very powerful team. He's a very powerful player. Midas is 1-1 in his group, losing in an upset to Kobo. Draco is 2-0 right now, but has yet to play, I think, the most challenging players in his group. So I am very excited right now to see how this game unfolds. Remember, if Midas loses this game, he will quite possibly be eliminated. I am waiting, and it looks like we're about to start. All right, the game is going. Midas versus Draco, Terran versus Protoss on the map Gaia. This is a very, again, I can't stress how crucial this game is for this tournament here at WCG, because honestly I think if whoever makes it out of this group, and I can almost guarantee you that both of these players, or at least one of these players, will make it out of their group, they will have a very good chance of possibly winning this entire tournament. They are both very accomplished players. Now we see Midas over here in the far bottom left corner of Gaia, and we see Draco in the bottom center, but basically sharing the bottom right side of the map. There's a 4-player map, so they'll have to scout at least probably more than one position. And judging from the location of these two players, they're very far by land. If you can follow me on the mini map right now, they would have to follow this box at the bottom left. This is the essential path that you would have to follow in order to get to your opponent's base. However, notice that they're very close together by air. This means that there's a high, at least a high probability that it could be either drops from one of the two players, Reaver drops or tank drops, bike drops, something of that sort. I now see Draco scouting across the map. He sent his probe out. This is about the average time in which Protoss players send their probe out. He's sending it, of course, to the closest position, which is up here. If you look at the bottom right corner of the mini-map, this black region, he's scouting this area first. We see him now coming up here at this ramp right now. And it looks like, obviously Midas is not here. So this probe will continue to scout, whips around immediately, as every second in a game like StarCraft counts, continues to scout across the map. Draco now getting up his first gateway that'll allow him to produce the ground units that we will see a lot of in this game, in this matchup of Terran versus Protoss. Midas now opting to get his barracks up and his refinery. I've noticed this kind of a characteristic of Midas' style. Many players, they tend to wall off their entrances. This is Draco's base, but I don't have vision of Midas' ramp right now, so I'll use this as an example. Many times players put structures here and here or someplace around this area in an attempt to wall off their base from any kind of rush that might come up here. Draco now scouting the next spot. Midas has not opted to scout, as we can see by the black area. There has been no holes punched in here. He has not left his base. Instead is opting to get a stronger economy by not wasting a worker scouting. We now see Draco once again to another probe. I am curious to see if Draco is going to do something rather unique up here. I see two probes now scouting. This is quite I would not say unusual, but it's normally a sign that he will hide a pylon somewhere in an attempt to put some kind of tech structure somewhere up here. And I think, excuse me, I think that's exactly what we're going to see up here right now. He will probably build a pylon somewhere in this region coming up here, and we see the other probe. It's about to scout Midas. Obviously, through the process of elimination, now Draco already knows that this is exactly where Midas is right now. Midas using this Marine, he wants to scout this probe. Watch very carefully as Draco will attempt to control this probe and utilize it to the utmost perfection so that he can see exactly what Midas is doing for the longest period of time, and it was not utilized to the best of his ability. While that is not a very serious blow to Draco, it is a little bit annoying that he will not be able to get the adequate scouting he possibly could have gotten had he kept that probe alive for a little bit longer. I see the cybernetics core upgrading Dragoon range, and it looks like this is going to be a fairly normal build. I'm still a little bit curious, though. to see exactly. Here we are. All right, I did guess it right. Draco will be hiding a pylon out here. This is a pretty common. Well, I wouldn't say too common, but I mean it's something I've seen before around here. He's basically going to hide perhaps his tech structures, perhaps build a gateway right here of some sort. He's going to put something over there and rush into Midas's base earlier than Midas would probably expect. A lot of this game is based off your overall understanding of the timing of the game. Timing is everything, scouting is everything, and economics is everything. And basically, I think putting the gateway out here, he might possibly rush with Dark. Oh, maybe not Dark Templar. Perhaps three. It looks like it's going to be a 3-gate Dragoon rush. And on a very important note, what we noticed earlier was that Midas, in his first game here at WCG, actually lost to a strategy that was very, very similar to what we're seeing right now. So it looks like he's going to do a double proxy gate rush. Proxy referencing how close the gates are to Draco right now. However, Midas has scouted Draco. He's floated his barracks, a common technique used since they are so close by air. He has lifted off the building and floated it in here. However, I do not believe that this barracks necessarily scouted anything significant. Draco has carefully positioned his pylons away from this, and therefore there is no hint of exactly what Draco is up to. In fact, I don't even believe that Midas has any idea that this pylon is out here, which is supporting 2 gateways, which will possibly fortify a very strong rush coming up here. Midas, this is exactly what I think Draco would want Midas to do right now. Midas not really sensing any danger, and he probably wouldn't, judging since he's scouted so late. He probably can't see this. Midas is going to take this command center, he's going to lift this off, and he's going to float up over here and land this here. And this is probably exactly what Draco wants, because he has 2 gateways out here. He can supply units to this expansion. If you follow me on the screen right now, we will move down here. We will see they are very close together. The command center is lifting up. In a game like StarCraft, it's all about expanding, and many times players rush for an expansion very early. But hold that thought right now, because the Dragoons of Draco are getting very close to this expansion. Midas strategically positioning this tank, which is in siege mode, right back here. Okay, hold everything. All right, the attack has started. This is very serious right now. The rush is working. It has commenced. And this first tank will go down. 2 more tanks coming up over here. Dragoons being microed very carefully. We see the 2 tanks over here on this ledge being microed up here in siege mode. But it doesn't matter, because the Dragoons are far enough away from these tanks right now that they can pick off this command center. It is looking good for Draco right now. It would be very beneficial to get this command center, although that might not be a possibility. He might only be able to get the SCVs, but actually I'm not quite that sure about that. He might be able to pick the command center up. If he gets his command center, this is so pivotal for this game right now. I'm not even kidding. This is a huge moment right now. And it looks like now this does not mean the game is over, but this absolutely means that right now the game is swinging in Draco's favor. This is a big freaking deal. If you have not caught on already, this is very important right now. This means that Midas may very well not get out of his group. And if I could see the weather forecast in Korea right now, I would probably say it is raining right now. This is not looking good. And Midas knows right now. It's funny because Kobo did this to Midas earlier, and apparently this is what you got to do to beat Midas, because that's how we beat him earlier, and right now Draco is definitely ahead. Draco already throwing down his first expansion down here. Midas remaking this expansion, expanding aggressively, so to speak, right now. It looks like Draco is prepared for this, and this probe right here will morph a Nexus over here at another expansion. It looks like Draco has probably practiced this strategy, and oh my god, yes he has, because there are 2 DTs coming over here right now, and they're going to be... This is like a bad dream right now for Terran. I'm not even kidding. And the command center is canceled. Draco, being a wise player, knows he should not overstep his boundaries. The tower here has, around this range, I would say, of having vision right here. He's keeping these Dark Templars over here strategically positioned away from the vision of the tower. Right now, going into Midas's base, I need to take a little bit of a closer look here at exactly what's going on. An academy now coming up. We see this is upgrading. I would have presumed this is mines, perhaps, since bike speed would probably be a bit illogical right now. Draco now deciding that it is no longer necessary for his Dragoons to be positioned out here. He will now send these back over here to protect from drops, which would be very viable right now in this location and this one. Now, what are we going to see right now? What can we expect out of this game? Well, they're kind of in a Midas is absolutely going to be in a turtle position. He's going to have to back off. He's going to have to focus more on his economy right now, and he's going to have to play in a very defensive way. Draco is definitely at an advantage right now, as he's just now gotten his second expansion up. That's a very big deal, and that's going to be very hard for Terran to combat. RoboBay now going up. This will allow him to get observers so he can spot mines, which you're seeing right now. Draco very carefully controlling this Dark Templar right now. He must do so with the utmost precision because he wants to buy as much time with the presence of this Dark Templar to force his opponent from actually expanding again. I am now looking over here, and I see, all right, this Dark Templar is now being killed. The threat of the invisible cloaked unit is no longer there. However, that does not mean that the threat of Draco's macro crushing Midas's bones at this moment it's still very imminent right now. Looking over, we finally see the expansion of the Terran is about to land in this area over here. Bikes scouting around the map. I have to say, I really like the position of these gateways. This is exactly where they don't check. And that is exactly why this strategy works so well. And it looks like he might have actually missed the side of those gateways anyways, as the bikes just went right by them. Midas now must set himself up in a very safe defensive position. These bikes, the mission right now of these bikes is not to destroy any buildings, but rather to kill these probes right here. Vulture bikes will kill probes in 2 hits. That kills them very quickly. Draco must be prepared for this, and it looks like he's kind of walled this area off, the only other access point over here from those bikes. Midas going around the map, checking, planting mines right here so that nexuses cannot be built in this region. Looking back over here at the base of Draco, for those of you guys who don't know how this game works, each one of these buildings can produce units. As long as you have the probes that are mining to do that. And hold that thought as we now see the bikes of Midas going into Draco's base right now. And he absolutely cannot afford to lose that many probes. However, Midas is still behind, and he didn't. I think he lost 2 probes there. He should be okay. Cannons now warping in. These cannons will be an excellent static defense against Draco's possible, against Midas's harassment from those bikes. It looks like this game is going exactly how Draco wants it right now. Everything is going according to plan. I see the Zealot leg upgrade is done. That'll allow those Zealots to rush up to the siege tanks very easily and kill them. Very important thing here. It looks like this probe now, we're going to follow this thing up here and see if he's actually going to expand, but he will not be able to due to the location of this mine. Although maybe this mine's over too far. I actually can't tell. Occasionally players do things like plant mines in these spots because you can't actually build on top of the mine. Therefore, it buys a few seconds. In an economic-based game like StarCraft, that's very important. So, unfortunately, because of the way the game is working, I do not actually have the capability of seeing the food count right now or the resources. But what I can tell you is by judging by the looks of this, all right, Draco has decided right now is a good time to attack. It is very important that this attack works. I don't know if it will, though. I don't think he has enough zealots. Maybe he does. It's very hard for me to tell right now. No, you definitely need to pull out. Be very careful here. Right now, I will say Midas is macroing very well. However, if Draco plays his cards right, he will certainly be able to, I think, still out-macro his opponent right now. I see the Templar Archives now done. Well, I guess we already knew that was done, but the Forge is done, upgrading the weapons +1. Right now, essentially what we're going to see is Terran slowly but surely pushing across the map, expanding in further locations, and slowly crawling like the blob over to Draco's base. Draco, I don't know if I agree with the position of this expansion. It is rather close to where Terran is expanding. I think it's more advantageous for Protoss to expand away from their opponents rather than towards them, since Protoss units are more mobile than Terrans. While Terrans are very powerful, they cannot move while they're in the ideal attack setup. So they tend to kind of leapfrog, crawl across the map, if you will. However, I think what's more important to note right now that I'm seeing this, is that Draco will have Arbiters coming out. Arbiters are a flying unit which will allow you to cloak your entire ground army, making it very difficult for Terran to push you. Draco's Observer drifts over here, taking a peek and seeing that his Terran opponent is slowly pushing that much closer. Now, do not forget, Midas got second in Korea, and if you know anything about StarCraft, you know Koreans are pretty crazy about that game. And getting second there means you're pretty damn good. So Midas has honestly bounced back from this uncomfortable position that he was in earlier. But I will say Draco is macroing, building up a very strong economy, getting a large amount of units, and doing so very comfortably, it seems. Right now, we're kind of going to see this no man's land right in this region right here where I'm scrolling up and down. We're seeing that this is going to be pretty much a region where neither players can get to. Terran is going to slowly leapfrog these tanks over here. He's going to take them and he's going to move them. Whoop! Lost control of my mouse there for a second. He's going to move these tanks across the map in an attempt to slowly push this nexus right here. And this is what concerns me about this game, is that actually Draco, in fact, I don't know if this is a wise decision to expand this close, especially in the direction in which Terran will inevitably push. And I can certainly tell you that both these players know exactly where this game is going. They both know what the opponent's primary objectives are right now in this mission. And we see Draco perhaps in a bit rushed right now, did not put his nexus in the ideal spot. As you can see, the landmine planted here was not dealt with accordingly. Instead, Draco, more concerned about buying time, threw the nexus down in this location. He knew he had to get that up. Now it looks like Protoss will attack right now. The question is, how far will Protoss push forward right now? He's just going to do a little bit of damage back here to push this push back. The question is, can he do so well? And it looks like he did, but it's not that clear if it was enough. I'm actually very surprised that where the hell Midas gets all these guys from. But that's a little shady. No, not really. He's actually just really good. But yeah, he's actually managed to macro up a surprisingly large amount of guys. And it looks like the push of doom is getting closer and closer, and eventually the probes here at this expansion will be evacuated, as we are seeing right now. He cannot afford to lose the workers. They can be better spent elsewhere. We now see the bikes coming over here in an attempt to kill these workers. Keep in mind, at this point in time in StarCraft, if you guys could see the players' screens themselves, you would probably be having like an epileptic seizure because they're going so fast right now. There's so many things being juggled right now, so many concepts going on. The Arbiter now rushing in here. Now, Protoss is not attempting to kill Terran. Protoss is simply attempting to push this push back. However, it does not look like Draco is in a good position right now. Draco, I think, overexpanded, if you will. He spent too much money on Nexuses. He got a little bit too greedy here now that he was ahead. And Midas, being the very disciplined Korean that he is playing this exactly by the book and is now throwing up another expansion over here. I now see 2 starports which will be used to produce Arbiters. And although this expansion will be lost by Protoss, it certainly hasn't already been redone over here, although this Nexus placement is certainly not ideal. It would be better if it was perhaps up here. We are now seeing the Terran gaining position, so to speak, on the Protoss. However, most Protoss players are well prepared for this, and excuse me. And I think what we can count on seeing very soon up here, and it looks like Midas is prepared for this, is an Arbiter recall into the main over here. And that is why we are seeing so many towers and mines being planted in this vicinity. Right now, the question is, and the question that I cannot figure out, is what is the food count for the players? There's a 200 PSI limit for each race here. I would honestly, just judging by the bulk of units that we see here, the Midas is, I don't know, perhaps at maybe like 150 food, something like that. Draco is probably at about that same amount of food, judging by how many probes he has. However, now Draco has entered more of a very aggressive macro phase. We see a lot of gateways right now, and I would be really curious to see if this Terran, with his micro and macro, is still capable of pushing this next expansion, which we will see right over here. This will be the next goal for the Terran. Oh, actually, no, I lied. Never mind. He's going to be going over here. And the question is, how will Draco deal with this? Oh, my God, how did I miss this? How embarrassing. There's been an Arbiter recall over here in his main. This explains why the units were split here. This is a very good move by Draco. However, I don't know if it did the necessary amount of damage. What's important right now is that Draco does not lose this expansion over here. My apologies for missing that Arbiter recall. I need to follow the minimap a little bit longer, a little bit more while I'm casting this. This is turning into a very crazy game. A very late game, and it's going to be very much so focused on the economics. Draco managed to save that Nexus. Thank God for Draco. because otherwise he would be in an even worse position right now. Now Draco is essentially going to be flooding this area of the map out of these two gateways. And note that there are 2 points on the map very far away from each other in which these gateways are being produced. In which units are being produced from. That means that if Terran pushes in this direction, they will still be flooded from above. And just as if Terran were to come from here and push in this direction, the gateways from the bottom would also come in. So essentially, while Draco's been pushed back, there is no way that Terran can push him without getting flanked from the other side, is basically what I'm saying. There is no way that Terran can... that while Terran has gotten this far, the question is, where does Terran take it from here? And it looks like right now, Draco will be recalling if this Arbiter has energy. Yes, it does. Recalling into this command center. That is smooth, man. That is hot. He just flew right in there, and this is exactly what Midas cannot afford to do. Or cannot afford to have happen. He cannot afford to lose his command center. And all Draco has to do is continue to produce the units at the rate that would be the most ideal. And, yeah, this is good. This is. I honestly don't know who's going to win this anymore. I thought it was going to be Draco at first, and then it kind of turned a little bit, and then I saw it kind of coming in Midas's way, and I see another recall down here, and I won't miss this one, guys. Another recall happened right down here, and this is going to be very, very bad for the Terran. The Terran is split. Another group, this recalled army, now going over here towards this expansion down here, and this is a sad day for Korea, I think, still, and it looks like. I don't know. In the push, he split again. These units not yet attacking because so much stuff is going on. Not sure. This looks like things are falling apart a little. Things are getting a little shaky right now for Draco. I don't know quite what's going on. Perhaps nervousness. Perhaps just the amount of things that are being juggled right now. He's killing these supply depots in an attempt to stop Terran from reproducing so fast. These units will still get in here and still kill this expansion in spite of this Arbiter. I really wish Draco had, he just now noticed that this Nexus is, it disappeared. Where did it go? But more importantly, will be whether or not Terran can actually save this expansion. Because if Terran loses this, which I don't think he will, although he did lose a reasonable amount of SCVs, all right, he will not lose this expansion, but Protoss maintains pretty good priority. Essentially what Protoss will be doing right now is continuing to produce Arbiters. As you guys saw, the recall ability on the Arbiter is very powerful. He'll continue to recall. He will recall every time the Terran pushes. He will recall at this expansion and essentially punish the Terran. And it will force the Terran to be slowed down a little bit. Terran will either have to plant more mines here, build more towers like we're seeing this one right here, or put some kind of defense. And it looks like the next Arbiter movement has begun. Another Arbiter. Oh my God! What is up with these Arbiters? All right, another Arbiter recall over here. I don't know if this one was very good, though. It looks like this one was almost recalled right into a position in which Midas was expecting one. However, we see another Arbiter up here, and this spot is not very well defended whatsoever. Terran has good position. He has central control of the map, but I would say Draco has a little bit more leeway into keeping the Terran from expanding any further, if that makes any sense at all. The problem, however, is that Protoss now really only has this expansion and this one that's being rebuilt. As we can see, the minerals here are almost depleted. They are depleted here, and he is now transferring these probes. They are depleted here. Oh, I didn't see those. All right, he is getting carriers, and you know, that's a very common but very, very good technique used by Protoss. Is the whole time, you notice, all these units, they do not attack air. And it's kind of a surprise technique when suddenly a fleet of carriers flies in there and does some serious damage. Now the Arbiter, having possibly the energy, he looks like he's waiting for the 150 energy required for the recall to get in here. Protoss warping in 2 cannons here. He does not want to lose this thing again. It's not quite clear exactly what Terran is doing other than simply defending right now. Terran's been pretty badly crippled. And here's the recall. And it is... oh, no, guys, I'm sorry. I really thought he was going to recall there. Okay, there it is. All right. Now we got the recall coming in here. I don't know if that was enough units recalled there. I think he might have been wiser to recall a bit more. But it looks like... oh, the storms were dodged very well by the Terran. He needs to get this command center, I think. I think if he can get that... no, but he will not get the command center, it appears. However, every time you're not mining in StarCraft, you are not getting money. And every time you are not getting money, you are not producing units. So essentially, this is still a move in... oh my God! All right, hold on. I don't know. I don't think all these carriers are real. I think they're actually like a hallucination, but I'm not sure because they seem like he only had 4 like a little bit ago, but maybe he doesn't. So we're seeing these carriers now coming right up here. The command centers have been lifted over here, but I don't know what Midas has planned for this attack, and instead he has unsieged his entire army and is now pushing up here. I don't know if Protoss has enough units to hold this off right now because he did spend the majority of his food on these carriers. It looks like I will end up losing my voice on the first day of casting again this time. This game is just too exciting, to be honest. All right. This is going to be very bad for Protoss. Protoss cannot really... Well, he might be able to afford to lose it, but that means he will only be getting resources from this expansion. However, Midas will not be getting resources from that much of any expansion until he starts to use this one over here. This is a very exciting game. Command center about to get down, 100 life, and zilch. The command center is down. Midas is not stopping, however. Midas is pissed, you guys. He is coming up here with these tanks, and he is pushing very aggressively. We now see Dark Templar produced. He's going to use the fact that these units are cloaked. Terran has to waste scans. He's going to... All right, okay. We're seeing more and more carriers gathering together here. And Dark Templar being used right now to kind of hold up this push. All right, we see that this expansion is out. This will have little impact in the game, what's going on right here. We'll go back to what's actually happening over here. He's attacking the factories. The factories are what produce the units. The Goliaths, the only units really that we're going to see this game that can combat that. It does not, I do not think the range upgrade is done yet for the Goliaths. That shows you how unprepared Midas the Korean was for Draco's attack. I honestly think Draco will win this game right now. I do not think it is possible for Midas to come back from this. If any of you guys have ever played StarCraft, even if you guys are like BGH noobs, you always know what happens when they get that many carriers. There's not a lot of stuff you can do to stop that. However, the push has gotten up here. All right, I am surprised. Midas did manage to get up here, and that means that Draco will lose his last expansion. Whoa, this game is like out of control, you guys. Like, all right, the Dark Templar are coming out here. I don't know where they're going. They're going to kill the tanks down here, apparently. All right. We see the Draco did not manage to kill this command center. This is down to the wire, you guys. This is close. These carriers trying to pick off these Goliaths. Draco basically trying to make sure that Midas, while he somehow barely tries to hold this push, he is trying to kill the last facets of resources that Midas has. Draco using his carriers to pick off the SCVs. Honestly, guys, I would not be surprised if Draco has almost no money, and it looks like the last expansion, this is Midas' only hope, a hidden expansion in the north. This is the only way he will get money. However, Draco does not have any money at all. Neither of these guys are really that strong economically right now. The question will come down to, where will Draco send the carriers? Does he send them down here? This is a very difficult position. He's flying over those Goliaths. He's got to be very careful right now. Goliaths are very strong against carriers. However, carriers can run away from them while attacking. However, I don't know what Draco is going to do about this hidden expansion up here. All Midas has to do, essentially, is hold the carriers off, kill the interceptors, which he's doing right now, until, I don't think Draco has any clue right now that, honestly, that Midas has this expansion up here. Draco now flying into this main. Now, it's up to Draco right now. It's up to how well he controls these carriers. This is, without a doubt, been the closest game I've actually watched here at WCG right now. What he really needs to do is he needs to pick off the Goliaths first, and then get these factories, or get these 2 armories over here, which would actually cripple the Terran from getting any more Goliaths, I should say. However, it's not clear right now if... Where'd the carriers go, Midas? Oh, well, where'd the Arbiter go? Never mind. Oh, that was so good. All right, he froze these units here. This means the Goliaths cannot get up the ramp. They are stuck down there, and that means that Draco will be able to pick off these factories. That was pimp, man. That was tight. And it looks like right now, as long as Draco can control these carriers correctly, he will be able to pick off the factories, which will be producing the Goliaths, which Midas needs right now. I now see an observer over here. This means that he is at least somewhat aware of this expansion down here. Draco continuing to fly around here, doing a lot of damage. He needs to really focus fire these factories, and he needs to do so very quickly. because Goliath will continue to be produced from them. All right, the stasis is done. It's not too clear right now who's going to win this. There's still so many carriers, though. The question, though, is also how much money does Midas really have right now? And that's something I have no idea because Penguin Plug was not put on this computer for some reason. So we now see the more factories going down. Draco's going to have to do something about this expansion over here. However, if he kills the factories, there's really no way that Terran can produce units. Okay, another factory down. These carriers are going insane over here. Draco has to control these carriers very well. As we can see, the carriers do not have a lot of life. And it's going to be very difficult. However, Protoss can't really afford to lose that many units. I mean, that many interceptors. I'm like so distracted by this game. And a Dark Templar is inside this expansion. It's going to be and there's no scanner here either. And I don't know if this command center has that many scans left. I can't tell right now. Whoa, this game is crazy right now. I think it would be wiser to attack the SCVs. However, it's pretty much clear that right now Draco is doing everything possible to control these carriers to the best of his ability. If Draco can continue to kill SCVs, it looks like Midas actually does not know this is happening. He has no idea. Oh no, there he does. This DT has to move. You got to get out of there, DT. You got to get out of there. He's struggling. There we go. All right, it escaped. This scan is probably diminished now. And he's gonna pick off this command center. Terran will have no scans left. All he has to really do right now is get this scan down here. This scan. Oh well, he will not. He will instead opt to not do this. He has instead decided. Okay, yes, it is over. Midas has surrendered. Good game. Very well done. Well, that was an excellent game we saw there. Draco did manage to beat the Korean Midas. That may very well mean, this is not official, but this is just my prediction right now for the group. That may very well mean that Draco will advance out of his group, and the Korean Midas, second place, the player who's on the same team as Slayer's Boxer and I Love OOV, he will probably not advance out of his group unless Draco manages to lose his games later on. Guys, thank you everybody for coming down here. I don't think there are, let me check my schedule, I do not think there are any more StarCraft games down here today. So with that, I thank all of you for coming down here and watching this cast. And I hope that you come here tomorrow because we will have many more StarCraft games, not only on the main stage, but also on the cyberspace. Thank you, WCG, for always supporting StarCraft. And thank you, everybody who's maintained playing StarCraft, the best game ever made.